Yo, what is up, guys? It's Pedro here, and today gonna be recapping free agency. The first 2 weeks of free agency, have passed, and we're gonna be recapping the moves that the Washington Commanders have made. Haven't been too many moves, but the last week or so they made 2 or 3 moves. So we're gonna recap those. We're gonna talk about moves that they still can make, areas that they still need to fill. Middle linebacker. We'll talk about some potential solutions to those holes that they need to fill. And then we'll transition a little bit into the draft, talk about some prospects I like that you guys like, and we'll get into, players that we can pick at 11. And maybe if we have time, we will do a mock draft. So appreciate all you guys coming through. What's up, Willie? What's up, BX? What's up, Billy? Appreciate everyone for coming through. Ben, Tyler. So basically, nothing major happened this week. While we wait for some people to get in here, we're just going to recap what has happened so far in free agency. Obviously, before free agency, we traded for Carson Wentz. Everyone knows that. After that, we released a few players in Eric Flowers, Ioannidis, Landon Collins, DeShazer Everett. We signed Andrew Norwell. His cap hit is about $2.5 million. Pretty good signing right there, in my opinion. Yes, it would have been nice to keep Eric Flowers, but you go from 10 mil to 2.5 mil. That is pretty good, in my opinion. And then they went and re-signed a bunch of guys: J.D. McKissick, Bob McCain, Cam Sims, Joey Sly, and many others. And then this past week, they re-signed Cornelius Lucas and also signed F.A. Obata, which I think is a pretty good signing. We're going to get into the details of that contract pretty soon. What's up, Vion? Appreciate you coming through. Trayvon, Uptown Dre, and Dave Quavis. So the Obata deal for the Washington Commanders. It's a 1-year deal, which it has a 1.3 or 035 million dollar base salary with $200,000 guaranteed and $150,000 signing bonus. So that's a pretty good deal in my opinion. We didn't overpay. We pretty much paid like the minimum for a quality backup edge rusher that has familiarity with Ron Rivera, of course, played for the Panthers and the Bills. Seems like everyone we're signing played for both of those teams. But I do think that is a good signing. It was a position in need. And no, I don't think we're done or I don't think we should be done at edge rusher. I still think there's other guys we can add. Maybe someone like Melvin Ingram. I talked about him in my video yesterday with, 5 free agents. I still think we should go ahead and sign. I think edge rusher is still a position need, and I think signing a veteran who's been in the league for a while, who's been successful, would be a good idea to help develop Chase Young and Montez Sweat. So right now, guys, what are the top 3 biggest holes that you think we should address in free agency? So not in the draft, because there's some, holes that we can't really fill in free agency, but we can in the draft. So what are your top 3 holes that we should try to fill in free agency? For me, middle linebacker is number 1 by far. It's still a huge, huge position need. After that, in free agency, there's not too many like positions that we can really, really address. I still think, getting some more, depth on the D line. D tackle is a big position need. We could go after Star Lutulelli. I like Akeem Hicks a little bit more, so I would go after him. That is still definitely a position in need. And I'm trying to think, maybe some depth on the offensive line, but maybe someone like Darrell Williams. Let's see what people are saying right here. Appreciate that, Ronnie. Gus says I'm okay with Rivera benching Young or Sweat for Obata if either. I mean, not. It's not going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen. Chase and Montez should be good for the season, and he won't be benching them for Obata. I'm pretty sure. If they sign someone like Melvin Ingram and Chase Young and Sweat really aren't playing discipline like they were last year, maybe he'll send a message and take him out for a few plays, but I just don't think that's going to happen. DeQuava says, give Carson all the weapons possible. Olave at 11. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. I'm okay with Olave. I just rather not take him at 11. I like Wilson more than him. So Ben says middle linebacker, right guard, free safety. Tyler says middle linebacker, offensive guard, cornerback. So a lot of people are saying middle linebacker and guard, and then D tackle. And some people saying free safety as well. Ronnie says free safety. And I think, there's a lot. The main holes, in my opinion, middle linebacker, that we can address in free agency. The other hole, wide receiver, it's going to be hard to address it in free agency. There's some guys that we could go after for minor deals. Like I think Zach Pascal would have been a good signing. Like he got like $1 or $2 million. Like that would have been a cheap sign that we could have made. But a lot of these guys, let's see, like Alexander Wilson said, we're probably going to be signing a lot of guys after June 1st when we get that money from the Landon Collins deal. We're going to get about $12 million in cap space because of the Landon Collins post June 1st cut. So we're going to get some more cap space. We could use that to extend Terry or could use that to get some bargain guys. Like you look at last year after the draft, like we signed Charles Leno, who played really well, Bob McCain, so who didn't play, well, but he didn't play great, but he played solid for us. Jarvis Landry, Ronnie, I think let me pull that comment up. I think it would be okay. I would definitely be open to doing it. He's had some injury issues, and I just think he's a veteran at this point. Hasn't really won much in his career, so I think he's probably going to, chase a team that he thinks is going to win. So I don't think he's going to be coming here. Rev says, "I'm sorry, Pedro, but I cannot see how you think Wilson is better than Olave." I mean, it's debatable, I guess. Some people like Olave better. I personally like Wilson better. Olave is the better route runner, but like if a lot of people, the biggest knock on Wilson versus Olave was the speed, and that was just debunked at the combine. And I know the combine isn't, or the 40-yard dash isn't everything, but Garrett Wilson had a faster 40-yard dash than Chris Olave. I think Chris Olave is a better route runner, but Garrett Wilson much more explosive, better at these contested catches, can do more with a ball in his hands. So, you know what? It is what it is. I'm fine if you like Olave better, but I just personally like Garrett Wilson a little bit over him, especially if you watch the film. That's just me. Everyone has different opinions, though. And yeah, another guy I think I would target if I'm Washington is Alexander Johnson. He's a middle linebacker, and he's one of the best free agents out there, in my opinion. Like he was my number one target out of any free agents before free agency started. I really, really like him. He is a really good run stuffer. He's okay in coverage and an elite tackler, and you can get him for pretty cheap. You can get him for pretty cheap and still have the ability to draft a guy in the second or later round to develop behind him. But I do think you 100% need a veteran middle linebacker because what do we have right now? David Mayo, and that's it. Like that cannot happen. And I don't want a second or third round guy starting either. Like, I mean, if it has to happen, it is what it is. Even a first round guy, like I don't want us drafting a guy in the first round as a middle linebacker, and then unless we trade back, and even then, I don't know. But I just don't like having a rookie signal caller in the middle, and then two guys on the outside, and Jamin Davis and Cole Holcomb were still young. Cole Holcomb, I'm not worried about him, but Jamin Davis, was a 1-year starter in college. This past year in the NFL, was underwhelming. And this year, I don't know. I think having a veteran middle linebacker there is very, very important. So I think they definitely need to do that. Let's see. I saw a question about Darian Beavers. So I haven't watched any film on him, and but I have heard some good things about him. I'm not sure if he's a true middle linebacker. I saw something about him being a Sam, but I would not mind him in that mid-round range. Like I think he's probably going to go in that third round range. So if we don't address him, definitely could go after him. I mean, Ron went to the Cincinnati Pro Day. A lot of players that we could draft there. I mean, Desmond Ridder, don't think we're going to draft him, but he was there. Pierce, the receiver, was there. Sauce Gardner and Beavers as well. So a lot of players that he was at the pro day for. So I mean, he's getting a good look at these guys, and yeah, I think linebacker is just such a big need that I really would not feel comfortable going into the draft with this linebacker room. Like it's not good enough. I mean, David Mayo is a backup at best. He's a backup at best. Like even that, then I don't even know if I want him to be our backup linebacker. Like I'd probably just want him to be truly our special teams guy who, if needed, can, if our starter's out for a few games or our backup's out for a few games, he can be the backup, but nothing more than that. Alexander Wilson, appreciate the $5 donation. Says Mark Bullock said he likes Olave over Wilson. He says Olave can be a 1. He said Wilson is the same player as Curtis Samuel. Their tapes are similar. I kind of agree with that. I mean, Olave is definitely a better route runner. I don't know though. Curtis Samuel, yeah, they are similar. Curtis Samuel and Garrett Wilson are similar because they both are versatile players, can both play on the outside and in the inside. But I think, Wilson is more explosive than him. Even though they both can do a lot after the catch, I think Wilson does it at a much higher level than Curtis Samuel does. And I think, Wilson is still a better route runner and, just as good, if not better, than Curtis Samuel in contested catches. Like coming out of college, no doubt Garrett Wilson's a better contested catch guy than Olave. So, I think they're pretty close. I think most mock drafts have Garrett Wilson above Olave, but there's definitely some guys that have Olave over Wilson, like Mark Bullock, who is definitely a well-respected guy. So, appreciate the donation. And I personally would be fine with any of the receivers. I just would rather not draft someone, especially someone like Olave at 11, where I think you can get him later in the draft. And I think, if possible, Washington should really, really try to trade back this year. And it's going to be hard. Not every team wants to trade up in the draft, but I think if you can do it, because there's 4 or 5 receivers that are pretty close. There's no really one true elite wide receiver in this class. Like each team probably had a lot of these teams probably have different rankings on the top 2, top 3 guys. So Washington might have a completely different ranking on their number 1 receiver than someone like, I don't know, the Saints do. So if Washington trades back, maybe they can get their number 1 guy at 18 instead of getting him at 11, and you get those picks back. You get picks back, and because we gave up a 3rd round pick for Wentz and a future 2nd or 3rd round pick for Wentz. So I really think we need to try to recoup some of those assets that we gave up in the Wentz trade, and we can trade back and still get a receiver in the 1st round. I think trading back is the move. You look at the Giants did last year. Obviously, I don't think they took the right player. I love Tony. Tony's a great talent, but the injuries and some other things, I don't know if he's going to work out. But they traded back from 11, I believe, to 20 or something, 21, and they got a future first, and a 3rd, and obviously 19. And they took Tony, and the Bears pick this year is like, I think it's like number 7 or something. So they made a really good deal trading back, and they're still able to get a player they really liked. So I think Washington should do the same, especially because receiver is a position that the top 4, top 5 guys are very, very close. So I believe 2 or 3 of the top 5 receivers will be there after 15. Will probably be there at like 19, 20, because I just don't see a lot of them being taken in the top 15. There might be like one receiver, probably 1 to 2 receivers taken in the top 15. So there might still be a guy like Olave there at 20. There might still be a guy like, Burks there. There's going to be good receivers that we can take in that range, and we can still get some assets. Like if we traded back into like late teens, early 20s, got Olave and some picks, that would be amazing. Like that would be really, really good for Washington, because they get that number 1 receiver they want. Or we already have a number 1 receiver, but you can have another number 1 receiver in Olave or Garrett Wilson, and you get some more assets. If we trade back, I don't think we're getting Garrett Wilson, but you could still get someone like Olave, or maybe like Jameson Williams, like Finkel said right here. Who knows if he's going to be healthy for the start of the season? He tore his ACL in January, so he might not be ready, but he definitely he's probably the most talented, if not the 2nd most talented receiver in this class. So I really definitely think he's going to fall a little bit because of his injury, but if a team is patient with him, they will not regret it. But I just don't know if we can risk our first round guy missing a decent chunk of the season. But if his medical checks out, then maybe we can get him. That's another thing I wanted to talk about. I've been meaning to talk about it for a while, but I think Washington is not going to take many risks this season, this draft, and even free agency with guys that have had a lot of injury issues. Carson Wentz is an exception, I guess, because he hasn't had an injury in a couple of years. But I'm talking more about the draft because we don't have our trainer. Ryan Vermillion got busted by the DA, and after that, I mean, we still don't have a head trainer, and we still haven't gotten one. So I don't think they're gonna, they still probably have some guys in place, but they don't have that guy. So I don't know if they're gonna take as many risks with taking guys that have had like 2 or 3 ACL tears, like someone like Carson Strong, who's had a ton of injuries. So maybe they just don't take as many risks unless they get that head trainer in soon. And that's another thing. Like, I don't know why it is taking so long. They should have whoever it is in there now to evaluate these guys. Trayvon says, "Do we trade back Pedro?" I think we should. I don't know if we will. I mean, teams usually do not trade up for players that are not quarterbacks. Of course, there are exceptions. I'm talking about in the first round. There are exceptions for sure. I mean, the Steelers trade up a decent amount for Devin Bush. There's definitely exceptions, but usually it's for a QB. So we got to look at for teams that their QB, they might need a QB and they're behind us. The Saints are a possibility. The Steelers are a possibility as well. The Lions are a possibility, although they are picking late. They're picking at 32. So those are all possibilities that, like, if there's a QB they really like and he's still there on the board at 11, they might be able to give up a decent amount for Washington. So to give up a decent amount to Washington for that pick, and we can get some assets back and go ahead and get a receiver wherever, wherever we go. And if we go to 19, I think Revs, we might be able to get Olave at 19. Probably after 19, he probably won't be there because I know the Saints pick, pretty close, or actually the Saints pick before 19, but I know the Patriots pick in the 20s. So that is definitely true. Olave probably won't be there after 20, but I think he'll be there before 20. Like, I think if we trade back with the Steelers, I think he will be there. He says, "You think Rule takes Willis or Pickett at 6?" I think they have to take a QB because, I mean, I don't know. Sam Darnold is not the answer. They're paying him 20 mil though, but I think Matt Rule has to do something to save his job. And if he takes a rookie QB and he does okay, then I think that, you know, it kind of gives him some time. So Willis or Pickett, if one of those guys, if I don't know, there's been some time about Willis going at like 2 or 3. I don't know about all that, but I do think the Panthers will take a QB. So that'll take one QB off the board and, might make a team desperate to be like, okay, we got to trade up. Let's go to 11. Um, yes, the Eagles have 3 picks in the mid to late teens, and they need receiver help. So they'll probably take a receiver with one of those picks, but I also think they will trade back. I've been saying it for a while. I think it's something they should do, and there's been reports that they likely will do it. Like, you don't need to take, they have 3 picks in like 15 through like 19 or 15 through like 18. Trade one of those picks back, trade back with one of those picks and get a first round pick next year, so that if Jalen Hurts doesn't turn out to be your guy, then you have another first round pick for some ammo for the next year's QB class to trade up or to trade for another veteran QB. Rev says, "What do you think about Muma at 47 and starting day one?" I like Chad Muma a ton. I think in the second would be good value. He's going to be in that second to third round range. I really like him. He's really good in coverage, especially in that short to intermediate, passing game. Solid as a stuffer and can get to the QB. So I think he is a solid pick. I would take him in the second to third round range. We don't have a third round pick, but if we decide to trade back, I think he's going to be probably a late second round pick. I don't know if he can start right away. That is the question. I'd rather not have a rookie linebacker starting right away, but it is what it is. If we don't have a guy, then he's probably going to have to start. I'd rather kind of ease him into it, kind of let him watch a guy, like Alexander Johnson or someone else, let him watch a guy instead of going all the way in right away. But I definitely like him. I definitely like him. Yeah, I think he's going to be a steal for sure. Another possibility that I saw some people talk about in the chat is cornerback at 11. And I don't think cornerback is a huge position need, but if you see an elite cornerback there and he's there, Derek Stingley or Sauce Gardner, one of those guys there at 11, and you think he can be an elite cornerback, 100% take him. Like, we do not have an elite cornerback. We have two. We have Kendall Fuller, who I think is a good cornerback, and William Jackson, who last year was good at times, bad at times, can be a good cornerback. But none of those guys is elite cornerbacks. There's only a few elite cornerbacks in the NFL. I mean, I'm trying to think about it. Jalen Ramsey, Jair Alexander, Xavier Howard. There's a couple others as well that I'm just blanking on the top of my head. But there's not many elite cornerbacks in the NFL. So if you can get one, take him at 11 for sure. And Sauce Gardner could be that guy. Derek Stingley is definitely more talented than Gardner. He just has a bunch of red flags. But if they check out, if everything checks out with Stingley and they don't have an issue with that, I would be okay with them taking Derek Stingley because cornerback is such an important position. Like, having a lockdown corner just changes everything for you. So if you have Stingley there and he can lock down that number one receiver, like, that is going to help you a ton. So definitely wouldn't be upset with that. And if Kyle Hamilton's there at 11, 100% take him. I mean, he's one of the better players in this class. I don't think he's going to be there at 11, but free safety is still a position, somewhat a position in need. And what you can do, if you take, Kyle Hamilton at 11 or whatever, wherever, I wouldn't trade up for him. We don't have the assets to. But if you get Kyle Hamilton at 11, you can obviously have him as starting free safety and move by McCain to the slot, which is what you were saying, Revs. We do need a nickel. So by McCain could be in the slot. So that would be the perfect scenario, getting Kyle Hamilton at 11 and then having Bob McCain move down to the slot, and then you have Kendall Fuller and William Jackson on the outside. Because Kendall Fuller did not look terrible in the slot this year. And I know it wasn't just him, because when he was in the slot, the whole defense looked bad. Not all him, because other guys were playing out of position. But once he went to the outside, he and the defense was playing better as a whole. So I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do at the nickel position or the slot position, because, I mean, Bob McCain could do it, but then who's playing free safety? I think Benjamin St. Juste is much more of a outside corner, but maybe they can move him into the slot. Go ahead, guys. Comment it down in the chat. Who do you think will be their nickel guy this year? I mean, Jimmy Moreland was their guy, but they cut him this past season. Maybe Torrey McTyer, but he's also kind of more of an outside guy. Yes, Kendall Fuller was really good in the slot before when we traded him to the Chiefs, but this past year he wasn't here. Hamilton 1, Stingley 2, Gardner 3, and then trade back. I agree with that. I would be okay with taking Wilson there at 11. Not a huge fan of taking receiver that high, but if Garrett Wilson is there and you like him, I would 100% be okay with taking Garrett Wilson at 11, because then you got an all Ohio State receiving core. But yeah, trading back is, that's definitely something I would really, really encourage them to do. If they can do that, go ahead, do it. Recoup some assets and still get a really high quality player. I really think they need to try to do that. Yeah, I think they can still I think they should probably draft a receiver, but maybe they like or not a receiver, sorry, a free safety. Maybe they like Derek Force. I mean, Derek Force is kind of a hybrid, a free safety kind of strong safety, but I kind of we didn't see much of him because he was kind of injured for a lot of the season. But in that Giants game, we saw some flashes from him. There was some nice flashes from Derek Forrest, and I really, really think there's some definitely some intriguing things about him. So maybe you have him as a backup, but I don't know. I think I agree. They still definitely need another free safety. Yes, Jackson Smith and Jibba is an absolute beast. But that doesn't mean that Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson weren't as well. Like that just shows how good Jackson Smith and Jibba. Like he's in that category of like somewhat like Jalen Waddle. Not as not as good as Jamar Chase, but kind of in that category. He's gonna be a top 5 pick next year. Like he's gonna be the number 1 receiver. Like guys like him don't come around that often. And that doesn't mean that Garrett Wilson or Chris Olave aren't good as well. Like, yeah, I don't necessarily agree with that. I still think I would be okay with drafting him. I would be okay drafting Drake London as well, even though, I like guys that can separate. And I'm not saying he can't separate, but, he's more of a contested catch guy. And, some of those guys struggle in the NFL. You want guys to get open and not just rely on, their height and everything. But he's a solid route runner as well. What do you guys think about QB? Do you still want Washington? I'm going to put this in the chat. Do you guys still want Washington to draft a QB at all? And if so, is it a first round QB? For me, I don't really think we should draft a QB. I mean, if you really like a guy, for sure, go ahead and draft a QB. But I feel like if they really like the guy, they wouldn't trade for Carson Wentz. So I'm going to say, do you want the Washington Commanders to draft a QB? Okay, I'm gonna put that right there. Yeah, maybe a guy in the later rounds, like the Colts drafted Sam Ellinger this past year. But yeah, I'm okay with Ritter. Again, I'd rather not draft a QB this year, but if we were to draft one, Ritter in the second would be okay. The only thing, like Ritter to me, he has what you want in a QB. Like he's got the size, the frame. He's got good leadership. 3 4 year starter. Great record, and he's got a good deep ball. But the accuracy, if you watch this, don't want not the highlights. I want anyone here that loves Desmond Ritter, and you still might after watching the tape. But I went into, before I started watching this tape, I was really excited, and then I watched the tape, and it's like the accuracy issues are like alarming for sure. Like it's very, very alarming. Like if you guys watch some of the games, there's so many short passes that like I don't know if he would work in this offense because like so many short passes where he just sails it or throws it behind the receiver, the running back, especially the running backs. He cannot throw to running backs. So I don't know. I still wouldn't be upset if we drafted him. He wouldn't be ready. He wouldn't start this year, but at the same time, then you have kind of that conflict with Carson Wentz. So I'd rather not draft a QB this year. But because I feel like if they really like the QB, they wouldn't have traded for Carson Wentz, and they would have, tried to get that guy. They would have tried to get that guy. But yeah, let's see. Let's see what the comments are saying. Um, we need 2 impact players in round 1 and 2. Cannot miss or have a project like Davis. Yeah, yeah. No projects. Get a receiver, and like Chad Muma, he might not be necessarily ready to start right away, but I think he can be an impact player, and he probably can start. Not necessarily ideal, but it would be okay for me. So it's 50-50 right now with 14 votes. 50 or 7 people saying yes, 7 people saying no. Again, for me, it's a no. I would be okay with it, depending on the guy. Definitely not 11 though. And we got 77 people in the chat. So if you guys are new, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Trying to get to 7,500 subscribers, and also go ahead and follow my Twitter. If anyone follows me right now, I'll go ahead and follow you guys back right now. So I'll just put that link in there. But yeah, let's get into. Well, we have time, so we're actually gonna do a mock draft, and I think I'm gonna do a mock draft for a video tomorrow. But heading, with free agency, kind of we're in that second wave right now. There's still some really good players available. Like Bobby Wagner is still available, Tyrann Mathieu is still available. Like there's still a lot of good players available. They're just asking for too much money. So these prices eventually will be lowered, and Washington, for some of these players, will be able to get them. Like still Bobby Wagner and Tyrann Mathieu. Washington's like will likely not have enough money to pay them. But some of these other guys that they're kind of been interested in negotiating with, they might drop their price, what they're asking for by a couple mil, and Washington will be able to get them. So let's hope that happens because they need a middle linebacker like really bad, and just give me a veteran guy that's significantly better than Mayo, and I'm okay with that heading into the draft. And then you can do whatever you need in the draft, draft the guy in the second, but at least you have someone that is significantly better than Mayo. Because I just cannot watch Mayo play be our starter this year. I can't, and even a rookie, it's going to be hard. Also, another position that I think is Jarvis Landry, pal. I would be okay with it, but I don't think it's going to come here. Anthony Barr, I like Anthony Barr, but he's more of an outside linebacker. Another, position that I think is kind of a big issue, a big hole, kind of, is some depth at the tight end position. Because, well, here's the thing: if they feel like Logan Thomas is going to be 100% for the season, okay, I feel like they're good because I like John Bates and Samus Reyes is fine. But if they have any doubts about Logan Thomas being ready for the start of the season, they need to they need to get some more tight end depth because their starting tight end right now is going to be if Logan Thomas is out for a few weeks, is John Bates and then Samus Reyes. That cannot happen. And I know this class is very deep, but like again, rookie tight ends do not usually develop very quickly. It takes them a couple years. So, and I mean, it's different. John Bates was great, so he developed pretty quickly, especially for a fourth round pick. But a lot of these guys do not. So you're gonna have um, a rookie, and Samus Reyes. That to me is not a good idea. There's still some good like veterans that yeah, they're not great, but like they can be okay for you for a few weeks if you need him. Eric Ebron, not a huge fan of him, but okay, whatever. He is an option. I would be okay with it. Kyle Rudolph is another veteran option. Been dealing with some injury issues. Jared Cook would be another option. What's up, Philip? Yep. I watched the first half of the game. Decided to stream a little bit early because it's a blowout. But yeah, UNC won, and I'm hoping that they beat Duke next week for sure. Definitely hoping that they beat Duke because yeah, really hope that happens. But yeah, it was a good win for them, and ends the great run for the St. Peter's Peacocks. But yeah, I'm excited for that Final Four matchup between Duke and UNC, and let's hope UNC gets that dub. Yeah, the Maryland tight end, I forgot his name, but yeah, watch him in the combine. He looked good. He looks like he has some potential, and I would be okay. I would definitely be okay with drafting him. But again, I don't know if those guys are going to be high. They won't be high impact players right away. It's going to take them time. So if they have any kind of doubt about Logan Thomas's injury status this year, then I would just sign a veteran that you think can fill in for a few weeks. Just do that. Just do that and wait until Logan Thomas comes back. I think that is what the Washington Commanders should do for sure. And yeah, I'm trying to think about any other holes. Guard, Daryl Williams, in my opinion, yes, I know he's a former Carolina Panther, and Buffalo Bill, but I think he would be another option for the Washington Commanders because he is, and I'm not talking about the running back Daryl Williams. I'm talking about the tackle slash guard because they do still need some depth on the offensive line. And, I think, Sadiq Charles is a good depth piece and Cornelius Lucas is a great depth piece, but you need more than one for, each of those positions because if Cosme goes down, then you have Lucas sliding in there, but you have no one else behind him if he gets hurt. And we know all the injuries that have happened with Washington's offensive lines, the last few weeks. Hey, Rudy, hey, it is what it is. I'm just not a Duke fan, but hey, we'll see. We'll see. But rooting for UNC for sure, and then we'll see with Kansas Villanova should be a great matchup between Duke and UNC, and then I think Kansas will win for sure. But yeah, tight end definitely still a position of need. And yeah, I was talking about Daryl Williams. You add him to the lineup, and he can play guard or tackle at a pretty high level, and he might even win that job over Schweitzer. I don't think he will, but he could, and he has familiarity with John Matsko, with Ron Rivera, and he would be a really, really great depth piece for the Washington Commanders. And I would be, willing to pay an okay amount for him. And that, if you did that, I am really happy about this offensive line going into the season. I actually am. Sam Cosmi only played 8 games last year. Hopefully he's healthy and he plays better than he did last year, even though he did play well. And that improves your offensive line. I think Andrew Norwell will play solid for us. So I am feeling good about this offensive line. Just needs to add a little bit more depth. Could do that in the draft or in free agency. It is what it is. I feel good about that position group. Tight end, though, we talked about that. Not too satisfied with that. Receiver, still need to add a receiver. I think we need to do in the draft, but I was kind of hoping we would add at least one guy in free agency, whether it's Zach Pascal or what's his name? Cedric Wilson was my guy. What's up, Door Gunner? Appreciate you coming through. So we're gonna go ahead and do a mock draft. We'll kind of do a fan mock draft. I'll let you guys do some of the picks right here. Just setting it up. But let's see. I'm gonna share my screen. Yeah, no, pal. Gronk is not gonna come here. I mean, first of all, he might not even play this year. And if he does, he's gonna be playing for the Bucks. Maybe there's an outside shot at him landing with the Bengals. He's talked about, he loves Joe Burrow. So we'll do 5 round. You know what? Whatever. We'll do a 7 round mock draft. I'm just letting you guys know, like a lot of these 7th round guys, I'm not gonna know them. We still got a month to the draft where I can get familiar with some of those guys' names. So, wow. Very weird board that I just saw. Hutchinson, Thibodeau, and Hamilton. That is normal. With Hamilton, Evan Neal, the top 5, top 6 is good, but Daxton Hill at 7, Jermaine Johnson at 8. Okay, but whatever. Okay, so we're at 11. We're doing no trade backs here. We're not trading back. Charles Cross is a great prospect, but I don't think they're going to be taking a tackle at 11. Let's see, receivers. You got Jameson Williams, you got Garrett Wilson, and you got Drake London. Corners, the corners that we were talking about are gone. Linebackers, again, not a huge linebacker fan of really any of the linebackers. So I think we're gonna take receiver. Man, these ads are annoying. I think we're gonna take receiver for sure. But the question is, which receiver should we take? Which receiver should we take? Jameson Williams, Garrett Wilson, or Drake London? I mean, if you guys want Chris Olave as well, like this is a scenario where none of those elite cornerbacks or Kyle Hamilton's there. I would trade back here. I would trade back, but we can't trade back in this mock draft simulator. So I right here, I would take Garrett Wilson, but whatever. Let's see. Dorgon, appreciate the $5 donation. Says wide receiver, middle linebacker in round 1. Want more offensive line and D line depth. Definitely need another corner and safety too. I agree. That's why it's not necessarily ideal to take a corner in the first round because we're okay there. But I mean, if Sauce Gardner's there or Derek Stingley, I would not mind doing that. Kyle Hamilton, if he's there, 100% take him. But I agree. Take a receiver in the first, then maybe you can take like a middle linebacker in the second, or maybe third if you do trade back and get some assets. And then offensive line and D line depth. I think they're going to address D line depth in free agency. I think they're going to add Star Lutulelli or maybe someone like that, and then maybe another edge rusher, and maybe they'll get like one guy in the draft. But we'll see. We'll see. But I agree with your assessment. Wide receiver is probably the most popular pick for Washington at 11, and I agree. I think I usually not a huge fan of receivers in the first round, but this year I think there's a lot of good options where you can trade back from 11, go to like 20, get some assets, and still get the guy you want to get. So I'm gonna go ahead and take Garrett Wilson at 15. I think that's a solid pick for Washington. Dorgon, appreciate that donation. And yeah, they still have, some time to get some of these free agents. Like they're not going to go away. Some of these guys like Starley Tulele still on the board. Melvin Ingram, who I've talked about, he is still on the board. You're not, I guess not on the board, but he's still available. Yeah, George Pickens, he could, if we don't take a receiver in the first, then you could take get Pickens in the second, if he's there, if he's even there. Okay. Well, he is there right now, but he's not. I don't think he's the best player available. He's the best receiver available. So Desmond Ritter is still there. Desmond Ritter is still there. I'm trying to think. Christian Harris would be a solid option. Interior offensive line, Tyler Smith, another option. I mean, what do you guys think right here? I'm open to anything. We could go. I'll put a poll in the chat. I'll put a poll in the chat. Let's see. End poll for the other one. We'll go. I guess I don't know why I can't make another poll, but just say in the chat who you guys want us to take. Is McBride available? Is he available? McBride is not available. I don't think. I think he got. I want to see where he got taken. Okay, I guess I cannot scroll. But yeah, McBride definitely would be an option here, but I think he was taken somewhere, unless they have him ranked pretty low. No, yeah, I guess he just got taken, but McBride would not be a bad. Oh no, he's there. Sorry, my bad. He's there. He's there. So I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's necessarily great value for McBride, but I wouldn't mind it. Let's see. Brees Hall. Got to go Pickens. I'm not going to go Pickens just because we just took a receiver in the first. So I don't think I'm going to do that. What's up? Yummies? The website, just look up like Mock Draft Simulator Draft Network. That's the site I'm using right now. Only bad thing about it is you can't do trade backs unless you pay for the premium version. But they also have there's other ones like Pro Football Network. You know what, guys? I think Chad Muma here would be the move, unless you guys like Christian Harris better. Who do you guys like better, Christian Harris or Chad Muma? Haven't really watched much of Christian Harris's tape, but I really like Chad Muma. Kenneth Walker, Dave, I love him, but I just don't think we need to draft a running back in a second. I don't know. I think if we can go later in the draft and draft the running back like in the seventh, I would be good with that because there's always good running backs in the seventh round, like seventh, sixth round. Okay, so we got 1 vote for Harris, 2 votes for Muma. So hey, keep on. Just tell me in the chat, Muma, or I can put a poll now. Who do we pick at 47? Muma or Harris? Let's go. Okay. Poll is up. Go ahead and vote. And I'll give you guys like a minute or two. And then I'll go ahead and pick the guy. You guys, whoever wins, whoever gets the most votes, I'll go ahead and do it. Appreciate that, Bloodshot Sports. Thank you. And yeah, let's see. Yeah, I think who you said Zonovan Knight is a running back to check out. He is a sleeper. Okay, I'll look into that. And yeah, guys, if you find any guys that you really think are sleepers, like in that after the first round, so that second to past that range, let me know on Twitter or in the comment section, and I'll go ahead and check them out. It's draft season. Free agency is not over yet, of course. Free agency, the first wave is over, and we're kind of in that middle of the second wave. But free agency is going to be going on for the rest of the off season. But the draft is going to be over in April. So I want to make sure I get, I really watch most of the guys that I can. So we have, let's see, we have 15 votes. I'll give you guys a little bit more time. But right now, Muma is winning with 60% of the votes. And that's who I would take. I'm not sure if Christian Harris can play middle linebacker. Let me look at let's see. Let me look at the profile on him. So it says, so he's about 6 foot. That's a little small. Muma's got a more ideal you know, body type 6'3". So Christian Harris, yeah, he's a 4-3 will linebacker. So you guys can still decide, but we do not need a will linebacker, guys. We need a middle linebacker. And Chad Muma, I mean, he can play anywhere, but he's more. I think he's going to be a middle linebacker, and that's what a lot of scouts are saying. This guy thinks he's going to be an outside linebacker, but I think most people project him to be a middle linebacker. So I am going to let's see. We'll see what the votes say. 58% of the votes say Chad Muma. So we will go ahead and take Chad Muma at 47. So I'm okay. So far, if this happened, I would love this draft. I think Chad Muma can be a very good linebacker. Might not happen right away, and it definitely could. Linebacker is a position where if you had experience in college, it might not, it doesn't necessarily take you a super long time to adjust. Like Cole Holcomb played solid for us in his rookie year. I mean, his coverage was terrible, but he was a great, great run stuffer. So remember, we do not have a third round pick because of the Carson Wentz trade. So another reason I think we should trade back is because to recoup some of those assets that we gave up. So right here, we have a decent amount of options. We're picking at 113. This is the fourth round right here. Let's see. Someone says if we use a high pick on a linebacker, I want it to be Nakobe Dean. I'm not a huge fan of Nakobe Dean. Definitely would not take him at 11. If it's later, I would be okay with it as long as we get assets back. So tight ends, no tight ends that really appeal to me. I'm trying to see. This is a tough one right here. This is a tough scenario for us to be in. There's a good cornerback available, like the best player available on the board is a corner. So that could be something we go after. Receiver, interior defensive line, Jelani Woods. Oh, you know what? We talked about tight end. I mean, we might as well take we might as well take a tight end here. We're talking about tight end. I would not mind it at all. Let's see, move all the way up. The number one tight end on the board is Jelani Woods, who went to UVA. I mean, I would not mind that. I would not mind that. And what's up, Rio? Make sure you guys check out Rio from Rambling with Rio. Great Washington Commanders YouTuber, always posting great content, got great interviews on his channel. So make sure you guys go ahead and check him out. Let's see. Is Maryland's safety still on the board? I am not sure. What QBs are left? Let's see. Skylar Thompson, Jack Cohen, Zappy. So no one, in my opinion, that's worthy of like a fourth round pick. I mean, we could take. There's a punter at 100. What do you guys think? I mean, we could take a corner here. I'm thinking, corner or at 111, Lindstrom, who's an interior offensive lineman, Brian Robinson. I mean, there's some options here. Just tell me the position, and we'll go ahead and take them. Again, could be a tight end. Alec Pierce is here, but we already took a receiver, so I'm fine with another position. Let's see. I mean, I wouldn't say. I mean, I don't know. I agree with you. I think we do need a tight end, but it's not necessarily going to happen in the draft. So, yeah, let's see. Offensive line. We'll go ahead and take offensive line. I don't think Parham is here, but I think he's going to go earlier. But we'll go ahead and look. Interior offensive line. Where is it? Okay, so best available. We'll go all the way up. Here is Alec Lindstrom. So, a lot of people want us to take offensive line, and I think, getting some more depth in that interior is good. Lindstrom can play center or either guard position. So I think it's a solid pick for Washington. And let's see, we got a fifth round pick. It's funny that the best player available on the board is a punter. Let's see what people are saying in the chat. What's up, Kurt? Appreciate you coming through. Gibson, JD, and Patterson are solid. No need to take a running back. Oh yeah, I think running back is more of a like seventh round position to take, at least in my opinion. So we are here, or no, we're not at our pick yet. It's taking a while. But I mean, we maybe a tight end could be a D tackle. I mean, there's a lot of positions we could go here. Any guys that are on the board that are really good value, we'll go ahead and take them. Okay. Oh yeah, I forgot we didn't have a fifth round pick, so that's why we are. So this is our sixth round pick. So okay. Someone mentioned him earlier, and I love Oregon. Got some family there, a couple that went to Oregon. So Verone McKinney, the third, would be a good safety option in my opinion. Getting him in the sixth would be a steal I think he's going to go earlier than this, and I think he can play free safety for you. I would take him. Doesn't have great size, 5'11". I think he's in that 6 foot range, but I would not mind him at all. I think he would be a developmental guy that you could have behind Bob McCain that could be ready a little bit later. So I'm going to go ahead and take him. I really like him. I think he had a decent amount of interceptions last year. And our seventh round picks, we got two seventh round picks because the Colts did trade us back a seventh round pick. So this is where I would not mind taking a running back if there are any good running backs available, or maybe a corner as well. Get some depth at the position. But any guys that are really high up on the board, I would take right here. Still got some time, and we got no comp picks this year. So, yeah, okay. Best player available is a corner. Let's see what the best running back available is. Not, no. Okay, you know what? I forgot who said it, but we'll take this guy later on. We'll take Zonovan Knight. Someone said is a sleeper that they really like, and don't really worry about this board, guys, because like this is just an opinion by one scout, or not one scout, one media draft guy. Their board's kind of weird, so I'm just doing it on their site because you're able to do a mock draft for free, but just don't necessarily think that their board is the perfect board. So right here, Kyler McMichael or Damarian Williams. What do you guys think? Again, I've heard of these guys, never watched any tape on any of these guys. We'll take McMichael from North Carolina. We'll take him. Let's see. Washington needs a cornerback or running back, and we just took a cornerback, and we'll probably get a receiver, or not a receiver, a running back later. And yes, we don't have a fifth round pick because of the Cameron Cheeseman trade. It is what it is. If Cameron Cheeseman ends up being a baller for us, not even a baller, but just plays for the next 10 years, the trade is fine. But if not, then it was a bad trade. What's up, One Life Music? Appreciate you coming through. So we got running back now, and that guy said, what's his name? Where is he? Did he really get to? Okay, no. Zonovan Knight is there. We'll take him. Sleeper. And, yeah, running back, though, I think we should take a running back in the seventh. And, because there's so many good running backs that get taken in the seventh round or just late round picks. So definitely wouldn't mind that. So we look at our draft board right here, or the picks that we made. Garrett Wilson 11, Chad Muma. Then we took out Alec Lindstrom, who's a kind of a center slash guard. Verone McKinney from Oregon, the third, who is a free safety. And then got a corner, Kyler McMichael, and then Zonovan Knight, running back, NC State. So overall, I think it's a solid draft. I'm gonna stop the screen right here, and I think we did solid there. We did solid, and yeah, Danny Johnson could be a punt returner, kick returner, but I mean he's not. I don't know. He's serviceable, I guess. And yeah, that's another thing. DeAndre Carter still hasn't been. We haven't re-signed him, so that is something we need to. We might need to do if we want a kick returner, because he was a good kick returner. Uptown Dre says Derek Dees Jr. tied at 240. Sorry, I missed the comment, but I'll look into him. I mean, Gus, I guess I don't know. I think the jury is still out on Gibson. Got to give him another year. Like, if I want to see what he can do in a full season while he's healthy. And hey, maybe he can't stay healthy, but I want to give him another year because he's got a ton of potential. It's his second year playing running back, so let's see what he can do in another year. And if it's the same thing, okay, then we're talking. We probably need another running back, but I like him for sure. He though, yeah, has the fumble issues, has the injury issues. Those are the biggest concerns with Gibson, and they're both pretty big concerns. We can't lie. Those are definitely big concerns. So we're gonna wrap it up in a few minutes here. But any questions you guys have, go ahead and put them in the chat and I will answer them for you. Just ask me and I will answer. Let's see. What do you don't learn to play running back in the NFL? I mean, I don't know. It seems like Gibson did a pretty good job developing, but I mean, we'll see. The fumbling is definitely a issue. We can use him as a weapon X, but not as our bell cow running back. And yeah, I mean, that's the biggest issue with him is his injuries. I mean, injuries and fumbling. He cannot stay healthy, and maybe he can't be a guy that gets 15 or 20 carries in the NFL. And I think one thing we need to use him more as a receiver. We need to use him more on the line of scrimmage. Like we barely use him like that. I think that's something that Gibbs or Scott Turner can do a little bit better than he's done the last couple of years. Use Gibson a little bit more creatively than they have done. But I'm excited for this year. Excited to see what Carson Wentz can do. Barely mentioned his name today, but excited to see what he can do this year. And I mean, it's big year for Rivera because if Carson Wentz is a swing and a miss, then Rivera is going to be on. I don't think he's going to get fired. Some people think he will, but he's going to be on a hot seat, super hot seat the next year if Carson Wentz is swing and a miss. But yeah, I'm excited for next couple of weeks. We're getting into prime draft season. Still have a couple guys that we can resign. And then after that, a lot of the offseason is over in terms of getting new players on the team. After that, it's going to be OTAs, training camp, and then the preseason. I'm excited for this for sure. And yeah, guys, I think that is going to do it. Appreciate you guys coming through. I will be doing a mock draft likely tomorrow for tomorrow's video. So I'll have more analysis on each player than I did today. And yeah, make sure you guys subscribe if you guys are new. If anyone who hasn't watched my content, post Washington Commanders content all the time, trying to get to 7,500 subscribers. And also follow my Twitter. Someone asked about Christian Watson. I mean, I think he is getting some buzz. A lot of people are saying he's going to go in the second, super quick, and play it at North Dakota State. I don't know though. I would rather go after someone like Pickens in the second than Watson, but Watson's still definitely a good prospect. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace. Sorry, did not end it, but peace.